is Michael Bill, Ghost Hunter Extraordinaire. I'm here with Royal Tourist, and we're here at the Pharmacy Museum. Now, can anyone tell me why we have a pharmacy museum here in the city of New Orleans? It's because this pharmacy was the first licensed pharmacy in the entire United States. Louis DeFilo, who owned the place, he was from Paris. He got his degree at the School of Pharmacy there, and he was the only one who could pass the oral exam. Right? Go Louis. Louis loved us. If you had a fever, or if you felt bad or had a cough, it was like, oh, you're sick, go down and see old Louis, he will fix you up too sweet. If you didn't have enough money for the medicine, Louis would just give it to you. That's the kind of guy he was. Now, he moved here in this location with his wife and his 2 young boys. His brother actually helped him build this. So, as it being the first licensed pharmacist, people were here all the time. Now, back then, we had a thing called yellow fever. Had you caught the yellow fever, your eyes would turn yellow, your skin would turn yellow, your fever would skyrocket. And then you would start to vomit this kind of coffee ground material, which is parts of your dry blood, maybe parts of your liver. And if you died, pray to God you died straight out. Because if you slipped into a coma, they didn't know what comas were back then. They would put you in your casket, slip you in your tomb, and you would wake up buried alive. Now, of course, they started to realize this when people were kicking and screaming in the tombs. So they hung a bell outside the tomb. Ding, ding, ding. Saved by the bell is where that term comes from. Dead ringer, right? But for Louis, he did most of his experimenting on himself to find a cure for the yellow fever. And he did it in these gates up here, which are called an entresol. An entresol is the space between your home and your business. And that's where Louis had his laboratory. Now, in 1853, we had the worst bouts of yellow fever. Out of 50,000 people, 10,000 people died outright in 2 months. Worse than the COVID. So, they would line the streets, these bodies would. And if you've ever been here in the summertime, because the yellow fever always hit in the summertime. And why did it hit in the summertime? Because of the cisterns in their backyard. A cistern is like a giant well above ground, and you would open up the roof and let that fresh rainwater to come in so you could have something to drink. No one ever drank from the Mississippi, not even back then. And when you have standing water, get mosquitoes. Mosquitoes were the carriers of the virus of the yellow fever. They were burning off sulfur and firing off cannons to break up the bad air. They thought it was contamination for the bodies or bad air, and they didn't even realize it was the mosquito buzzing in their ear the whole time. Now, Louis was up in his entresol night after night after night trying to find a cure for the yellow fever. He was unsuccessful. And his 2 young boys caught the yellow fever and died outright. Now, it was too much for Louis to bear. So he sold this piece of property to a man named Joseph Dupas. And whereas Louis was kind and loving and gentle, Dupas was the exact opposite. Right where I am standing, he tried to stab a man for just saying good morning to him. Twice he was arrested for carrying a concealed weapon, which at the time was illegal. And he was always dumping formaldehyde and other chemicals right into the street. The health department was down here all the time, giving him a fine. No one would know how deep and dark the secrets of Dupas were. You see, when those bodies were laying out in the street, the government decided that it was unsanitary, of course, to have all these bodies blowing up and disgusting the streets, so they started the grave cart system. 3 times a week, they would have the grave cart go around. You guys know, like Monty Python. Bring out your dead, bring out your dead. And we would scuttlebutt Aunt Tallulah down, throw her on top of the rest of the bodies. Bye, hun. All the way down to the river. In the early days, they were just dumping them in the river. See, Dupas had given cash and chloroform to these grave car drivers, buying me women in the stages of pregnancy. They'd find a lady who looked like she was pregnant, they would chloroform her, throw her on the back of the cart with the rest of the dead bodies, and into the carriageway they would go. There was a lift that went down from the carriageway, from the entresol down to the carriageway. They would put her body on, she would go up alive, he would take her off the entresol lift and put her on the slab. And while she was still alive, he would take out a scalpel and cut the baby from her womb. If the baby survived, he would stab the child, and if she survived, he would choke her out. See, Dupas wanted to be the master of the painless birth. To be the master, you have to practice. Then the dead bodies would go back onto the lift, down it would go, onto the cart. People were none the wiser. 16 women they found when they found his dead body on the 2nd floor, dead as a doorknob, and his journal right beside it. And in that journal, he said he wanted to be the master of the painless birth. And dictated everything he did to these women. Now, is the place haunted? Yes. I myself have gone inside into EVP sessions where I heard them call my name. And I heard them saying, vampires, ghosts, where are the servants? So it's really, really spooky here. It's a great museum. It's only $5 to get in. Now, if you look over here, you'll see these globes. These globes, if they had red in it, meant the fever was in town. Get out. People couldn't read or write back then, so they had to have a visual. Also, you'll see another guy here that has his tongue sticking out. Take your medicine. So if you'd like to come here to the museum, it's still open. You have to pre-buy your tickets. It's only $5 to get in and all that history. And remember, make sure you go to the second floor and see the painless birth exhibit. The painless birth is what they were calling C-sections. Most of these were done on prostitutes and also enslaved women. So when you're here next time, come to the Historical Museum, the oldest and only museum of pharmacy in the city of New Orleans. It's Michael Bill, Ghost Hunter Extraordinaire with Royal Tours. Scare you later.